definitely been a interesting couple of days. Rather uneventful for the most part, but on the bright side, Bruins preseason has started. The next game isn't actually until Saturday, which, okay, I'm fine with, actually. So. But I watched a little bit of what happened between Boston and New York, and I gotta say, they're working on rebuilding, but they're at least doing better for the Rangers, so I guess I'm happy about that. And for all that it's worth, they may not make it to playoffs this season, but, you know, I'll be the one to say that, at the very least, like, I'll be entertained this NHL season regardless of what happens. And eventually I'm going to have to get a Colorado Avalanche jersey if, nothing else, because that's my second favorite team I would prefer to see get the Stanley Cup in June if it comes to that, but you never know. Sports are unpredictable. So, anyhow, just gotta do a quick thing here and let people know on Newgrounds I'm streaming. Okay, so here we go. Well, in any case, let's get this title card out of the way finally and start the show. Whoop! Wear the Bruins jersey tonight? Why not? But anyhow, we all know why we're here tonight. You want to see me draw. And I think for the palette I'm going to go with tonight. Let's try something a little bit different. Got a couple of good options here, but I think I'm gonna go with a High Five Joe. Or High Five by Joe, and it's only like 5 colors. Very limited, but for what it's worth, it'll be interesting to draw with. And yes, I'm listening to Super Nintendo music right now. Okay, so here's my pen. Question always is what to draw. And ain't that always the harsh truth with an empty canvas? Boy. I think it's gonna be something video game related tonight. As for what? Because I've already done Silk Song recently. Or actually... May as well make it something like just out of the blue. Just kind of go with the flow. So, other than that, trying to think of some stuff that was notable this week. So, I think far as the news goes, I don't know. Putting aside politics, because that's not really something I'd want to talk about. Hey, Glitching, how you doing tonight? That's good. As for me, I'm trying to think of what to talk about that isn't hockey preseason. Which, I don't know. I haven't really kept up with what's been going on, like, too deeply lately. If I'm gonna be honest. Boy. And honestly, I'm just kind of doing whatever tonight with the drawing I'm doing. Not really doing anything fancy. Unless I absolutely feel like it, but... Okay, here we go. I think I'm just gonna make this like a spaceman. I don't know, I just feel like drawing a spaceman right now. Would I ever feel like I want to go out to space one day. Maybe when I was a kid and I had a bigger imagination, but now I'm just like, eh. May as well wait until it becomes another commodity. Which won't happen in my lifetime. Okay, here we go. Alright, so that's a start. What can I do with a limited palette on this? That's kind of a big question right now. Okay. Okay, what the hell? Pokemon is getting involved in politics? Yikes, what a mess. So supposedly, and this is the headline I'm getting from IGN, Pokemon formally responds to the Department of Homeland Security's use of Ash Ketchum and Pokemon series theme tune. Permission is not granted for use of our intellectual property. So, I guess Homeland Security decided to be hip and tried to appeal to the millennials and all the kids. And Pokemon didn't like that. So now they're suing the Department of Homeland Security, I guess. So, there's a bit of odd tidbits. As far as like national news and gaming news goes. Honestly, it's kind of bizarre when you start hearing about like the media companies getting involved with whatever the government decides to do. So. But either way, some wacky shit be happening. So, I don't know, I guess it's more entertaining than anything going on with whatever else Nintendo is doing right now. So, that's just my hot take. I mean, the only other thing I could probably look up is seeing what's happening over either in Florida, Texas, or Ohio, just for ha-has, but I think I feel like hearing about the guy over in Florida who got arrested for doing a burnout in his car was like all the Florida news I needed to hear today, unless something else happened in Texas I don't know about. And why would I care if about anything that happens over in Florida, Texas, or Ohio? Well, let's just say if there's a game show that comes on, like, on my local radio station, And sometimes there's a couple of entertaining things that happen every now and then live on radio. And if you call in, you have a chance to win a potential prize like a concert or an album, tickets to some sort of event. One time I actually managed to win a Five Finger Death Punch album for the best of. And I was told to essentially wait to pick it up because I could win a grand prize. So I did exactly that, and sure enough, I got the grand prize of winning a vinyl of the exact same album. So I have that as a collector's thing now, which to this day I have not opened. It's a good album. It's like all the best songs that Five Finger Death Punch has, which I'm just kind of like happy to have, honestly. One of my favorite bands, if I'm gonna be honest. Ugh. Are there days I wish I was a rock star? Perhaps. But I feel like that would be very difficult for me to do without crashing and burning. Okay. Ugh. You know, now that I'm listening to this song, I wouldn't mind playing Mega Man X on stream at some point. Just for fun. What's your favorite Mega Man game? Like, hands down. Like, if it had to be me, like, oh yeah, Mega Man X, like, that's definitely a good series, and I enjoyed the first Mega Man X game, honestly. But I will admit that I enjoyed the Mega Man Zero series. I think I managed to beat, like, at least up to the third game when I have the compilation. Haven't necessarily beaten the fourth one, though. Like, if there's one thing I enjoy about the Mega Man Zero games, it's that it has such a nice art style. Which feels very sleek, but also edgy enough at the same time to just hold my attention. Okay, so... let's make him orange. Where is... here we go. Oh. Actually, now that I'm listening to Big Apple from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, like, that's another game I should probably stream at some point, just for ha-has. Definitely a possibility I could do. There are a couple of games I could play from the Super Nintendo that I could play 100%. It's just gonna have to be a matter of finding the time to do it. Okay. Here we are. Here we go. This works. Oh, what song is this? Oh, this is from Punch-Out. That's one Super Nintendo game I want to get for my collection. Major Circuit. Huh. Yeah, I'm pretty much in the mood for Super Nintendo music tonight. Ugh. Theme of Simon. Love me some Castlevania music. Yeah. I always have a thing for video game OSTs and chiptune music. I'm not gonna lie about that bit. Like, even some of the songs I listen to every now and then are just straight up video game music. Okay.
Hmm.
Right. A little bit different here. DS, Kirby Superstar Ultra. Good game. Well, I heard better things about the DS version. I wish I had a Kirby plushie, but I'm content with my Pikachu plushie. Got a couple of other plushies too, but that's the one that I kind of value most. Had that thing since I was 5, and that was a very long time to even keep that around. Alright. What's up? Escalade. Are we talking about classic Mortal Kombat or like the more modern one? Well, here's the thing. Like, I mean, some of the classic Mortal Kombat games are actually very good, in my honest opinion, as games. I mean, there's a good reason why they hold a lot of influence to this day, given that they've essentially helped pioneer mature games into the market as we know it. For better or worse, we've definitely had like a lot of interesting rated M games since then. So, that being stated, I like Ultimate Mortal Kombat or whatever Mortal Kombat 3 was. I actually kind of forget off the top of my head, but that's or no, because it was supposed to be for Mortal Kombat Trilogy I have on PlayStation 1, which I played every now and then just for shits and giggles. Far as modern Mortal Kombat is concerned, I mean, some of it's okay. I haven't really kept up to date with it. I think the last Mortal Kombat game I played was the Mortal Kombat vs. DC, which was okay, but given it was a DC crossover, it had to be toned down a bit. So it's not like you could see like a fatality between Superman going all out against like Lex Luthor or anything like that, because that just wouldn't make sense for DC Comics. That's not necessarily counting like anything that has to do with Injustice. So, yeah, essentially, Mortal Kombat is pretty good in my books. Some games are for better or worse, but in the end, I think it's a good franchise. Maybe I could stream a Mortal Kombat game at some point in the near future. It would be kind of fun to do that. I agree. I don't know if it was really a corporate influence that ended up causing the Mortal Kombat games today to be more toned down to the degree that they are now. That could be the case, but who knows? With the way modern gaming has taken a turn, it's kind of hard to tell whether or not it's just corporate influence or the devs being, well, like, careless, for lack of better words. So, apparently this song is from an NBA game. NBA Jam. Okay. I don't think I've ever actually played like any of the NBA games. Weirdly enough. Now, Donkey Kong Country 2, that's a game I definitely want to stream at some point. I'd have to go Sub-Zero, personally. And think there's one that I'm forgetting. I do agree with Johnny Cage. He's kind of a fun character. Hmm. Okay. Alright. Yeah, he is pretty badass. Yeah, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 is the one I was talking about from earlier. That was the one that I did play. I did give Mortal Kombat 2 a shot, which is alright. Never played Deception or 4. Weirdly enough. Okay. This is actually looking kind of interesting right now. Given the limitations I'm putting on myself. And funnily enough, I was actually listening to the Dark World theme while I was at work today. Okay. Oh, Zombies Ate My Neighbors. That was a fun game back in the day. and 7. Okay. Yeah. you're not, like, alone on that sentiment. I'm gonna be honest, I actually lost faith in Nintendo too. Like, don't get me wrong, I still love Nintendo. I grew up with it, but it's very, very hard for me to really respect what Nintendo has been doing as of late. And people are still going to be stupid enough to buy her products. Actually, that is one thing I could talk about, because if you saw the recent Nintendo Direct, it's just like, why? No one asked for a virtual console add-on that's mandatory to play virtual console games. Like, it's such a blatant cash grab for Nintendo on that one, and I do not know how they expect that to succeed, in all honesty. Because, let's be real, the Virtual Boy failed back when it came out in the 90s, right? I understand wanting to, like, preserve video game history on one end, but why make it mandatory to have an add-on just for virtual console games? It just makes absolutely no sense to me. So, I don't know. I mean, the only thing I see that Shell being remotely good for is for homebrew virtual console games. That, assuming that the Nintendo Switch is jailbreaked, you can actually do that. Even though Nintendo's probably going to get on everyone's asses the moment that happens. But at this point, it's... yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be totally honest. Saying this as someone who grew up with Nintendo, I am not going to buy a lot of her products in the immediate future. I intend to keep a lot of the older consoles at the very least that I have. If I get anything Nintendo related, like, it's going to be off a used market. I'm not going to bother investing in the Switch 2 unless there's, like, a real good reason for me to do it, like for Smash Bros. But right now, I'm not really having a whole lot of faith that the next Smash Bros. Will be anything beyond, like, a Volume 3 of Smash Ultimate, or a Switch 2 exclusive that's not going to be as good as Ultimate. Like, if you're gonna, like, have, like, Nintendo games, at least, in my honest opinion, go retro. Just get into retro gaming, get into, like, the retro consoles. Like, there are other things I want to say on that in regards to retro gaming. And I'm not saying this to endorse piracy. Like, I do not want to endorse that on my Twitch channel. So that being said, if you are allowed to, like, back up any of your ROMs for, like, old Nintendo games, then do that if you want to do emulation. but no illegal downloading. That's something I'm just trying to say so I don't get in trouble with Twitch. Yeah. No, definitely, because honestly, like, especially with indie gaming right now, it's actually doing a lot better than anything that's going on for AAA gaming, industry. Like, Silksong has been a blast to play, and I'm thinking that if I have enough time tonight, I might play a little bit of that. But, yeah, just looking at some of the stuff that's been going on with fucking Nintendo in particular, it's just real sad. Actually, even with Sony right now, like, I have to be totally honest and admit that I'm not entirely pleased with Sony either, and I never really had any intentions on getting the PlayStation 5 since I decided to invest in my PC, but having seen some footage of Astrobot, and I guess this is supposed to be the PlayStation 5 tech demo, but I can't help but feel that for what it is, Astrobot is like the most corporate looking game like I have ever seen. Like, even more so than Fortnite, of all things. Like, okay, I mean, cool and all that we got, like, a new PlayStation exclusive, but why do we need to, like, have it go hard, like, on the Sony PlayStation branding? Like, to a point where it's, like, injected everywhere into the game. I mean, even Little Big Planet, like, back when that was out on the PlayStation 3, yeah, sure, like, there was, like, some, like, product placement for the Sony products for sure, but it wasn't, like, overt. Like, the way it was for the way it is for Astrobot. I mean, even watching, like, the gameplay footage from, like, One E Plays, and I love One E Plays, by the way, so every now and then you may hear me reference them. But honestly, like, when I was looking at the Astrobot graphics, I'm just like, you know, I just don't feel anything from this game. I like seeing One E Plays play it, but it's not a game I would probably get. I mean, right now, Silksong is one of the best games I've ever played. Would love to get back into Expedition 33. But honestly, I don't think indie gaming has been in any better position to sell games now compared to probably about a decade ago. That's kind of my hot take on that, so. As soon as I express that opinion, Final Fantasy VI music comes on. Jeez. Yeah, that trend has kind of came and gone, like, in the 2010s. Actually, no, even sooner than that, because I remember it started, like, right around the advent of Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 days. Which, at the time, it was cool because it was awesome to see how far video game graphics could go. But then, by the time the PlayStation 4 and whatever Xbox had, I think it was, like, the Xbox One, it was very, very clear that the consoles were beginning to peak in terms of how realistic you can make the graphics. So, for lack of better words, like, yeah, realistic games have kind of, like, ended up, passing the hype train. Like, I would love to see more creativity with what the developers can do with the graphics. Like, yeah, like, it's one thing if you're doing, like, realistic games, but it amazes me that you don't have more AAA developers trying to do things that games like Expedition 33 are trying to do, because they're at least going far with more expressionism or expressionist level graphics. I mean, yeah, sure, the characters are realistic, but the environments of that game are insanely surreal. I think about what's going to happen in the graphics trends. We're gonna start seeing, like, companies move into a more creative direction with the graphics. More so out of necessity. Which, frankly, was something that I kind of wanted for a long time. Woo! As much as I would love for Sega to make new consoles again, it's Not gonna happen. They should make new consoles, but even if they like came out with a new hardware console at this point, and I'm saying this out of sheer blunt honesty, like I'm not sure if they can make the right business decisions to make it work. If history has shown anything in regards to how they handled the Dreamcast with Saturn. I mean, hell, sometimes I wish I was in an alternate history where, like, Sega, like, was still a major competitor of the game market. As far as, like, hardware goes. Hmm. Hmm. Also, like, on a random note, not that this has anything to do with Sega or anything like that, but am I the only one who finds it, like, insanely odd that someone's actually trying to bring back Bubsy? Like, I don't know how we ended up in this timeline where somehow, like, bad ideas could work. Um, for a modern day audience, I mean. Like, how did we end up in this timeline? Like, I'm genuinely curious to how that happened. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, that was a rather odd decision. I mean, it's one thing if you're trying to do like a 2D Bubsy collection, but I didn't really see the reason why they needed to include the 3D game. It's just such a weird decision to make. I mean, I don't know. I think we're just trying to like if this is my crackpot theory on the Bubsy games, I think we're leaning into the irony audience. And we're hoping that post irony syndrome happens and they actually build like an audience for modern Bubsy. I genuinely think that's what's happening. I mean, I'm gonna be totally honest as far as like the new Bubsy game goes. Like, if I hear it's actually alright, I may give it a shot, but I may wait until it goes on discount. Like, to me, that doesn't seem like a game that is going to end up being full price. Hey, Aquatic Ambience. You always gotta love it when a David Wise track comes up. Okay. I used to have a CRT TV. Actually had it when I was in college, but I couldn't bring it home with me. And after that, it was just lost to time. Made me kind of sad. I do want to see if I can get one again, but it's not going to be anytime soon. Unfortunately, it's not on my list of priorities. Hmm. Yeah, I do agree with you. I mean, CRT TVs are nice looking. They just kind of have like a nice aesthetic to them compared to like the modern TV. Yeah. Especially if, like, pixel art or very old cartoons. Hmm. Trying to think of something else about retro gaming. I mean, honestly, if I knew about this back in the day, like with the, there was one particular game on the Game Boy Color that allowed you to use your Game Boy Color as a remote control for your analog TVs. I wish I knew about that a long time ago. For one reason, just so I could mess with my family whenever I was playing that game, so I could just change the channel on them, like, without them realizing it. Like, just to be that little asshole about it. Hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, lately I've been getting into the Y2K aesthetics, which I never thought I would have said until I realized most of my childhood has been throughout the 2000s, as opposed to the 90s. think I'm almost about done with this one. As far as other aesthetics go, yep. Yeah, no bots allowed. Alrighty. Where was I? Alright. Let's make this a little more interesting and lively, yeah? So, but yeah, I was gonna say, like, far as other aesthetics I like, aside from the Y2K, definitely the 90s and 80s. I definitely agree with you on those two. Uh, Not so much Kawaii. Like, I understand why it's liked, but that's not really up there for me. Although horror aesthetic and psychedelic aesthetic is definitely, they're definitely two of my favorite aesthetics personally. Another aesthetic I actually like is probably the heavy metal aesthetic. There was a lot of that in the 80s too, if I remember right. Yeah, no, I understood what you meant glitching. No worries. banned by 3. Actually, no. It's banned by 2. Okay. Well, it ain't done yet, but thanks. actually didn't even know there was a Microsoft DOS port of Street Fighter 2. Like, not even gonna lie about that one. Oh, nice. Alright. Yeah, I think the arcade version is always going to be the best version, if we're being honest. Okay. And alright. For what it's worth, I think this is done. So, so this stream took about 2 hours in total. So, alrighty. Well, I think I'm gonna end the stream here. So, thanks for coming on board, Glitch and Ghosting, and whoever else enjoyed the stream tonight. Have a good night.